Welcome, everyone. This is our discussion on central fabrication. Um, we are joined today by Alex Brett from Myrdal Orthopedic Technologies in Canada and Renee Lewis from Friddle's Orthopedic Appliances in South Carolina. My name is Chris Handford. I'm the product manager at Vorum. I've been with Vorum since 2002. Yeah, we thought we wanted to talk about this topic today, really just because there's been so much change going on in the world, in really every region of the world. And it's important to just consider what the options are out there as you try to manage your clinical practice. So today, as you might have noticed, everybody should be muted except the person who's supposed to be speaking. Um, Please send any questions or feedback into the chat box. You can find that through the Zoom interface toolbar there. The questions will come into that chat box, and we will take time at the end of the session to go through those questions and hopefully answer as best we can any questions you have. So today we're looking a little bit at who Vorum is, for anybody that doesn't know, what central fabrication is looking like today, what the options are, and what kind of how Vorum fits into that, and how our partners are fitting into that. So along those lines, we've also invited our colleagues, as I mentioned, Alex and Renee, to speak about what their companies offer. And at the end, we'll have a discussion and Q&A to answer some of those questions you might have. So who is Vorum? Vorum started in 1989, and it's specifically around designing solutions for fabricating custom orthotic and prosthetic devices. Vorum's been the leader in the industry since then. Our solutions are practitioner focused, meaning that everything from the ground up has been built with the practitioner's work in mind, and the fabrication technician's work in mind, really to get the best outcome for you and your patient. What sets Vorum apart, as well as our central fabrication partners, a couple of who you'll speak to today, is that we're really committed to our customer success. That's really the first and foremost of our intention. So it's not just a technology company. We're really working with you to make sure that you are getting success and meeting the goals that you had in mind with the system. A traditional CAD/CAM system in O&P is comprised of the scanning, the modification, and the carving. Now more and more that 3D printing is coming into that third step. But what's interesting is really the scanning and the design piece is much the same as has always been. We have new and improved technology for scanning. We have new capabilities around design. And for the 3D printing piece, at least with Vorum, we are keeping all of that modification for the 3D print within CanFit, so that you don't need third-party software to do some of those designs. And it's, again, all done in that same package. So with the designing, there's a few extra steps to design the thickness of the device you want. But then from there, once you export it, you can either print it on your own in-house 3D printer, or you can send it to a central fabricator that has 3D printing capabilities. So this is a graphic of what that arrangement looks like when you are scanning and designing your shape and sending it to a central fabricator. So you scan your patient, you do those clinical modifications that you know that patient needs, and you're sending that file off to the central fabricator. What you can do, and some central fabs work like this, is you can allow them to do the design work for you if there's a consistent way, and if they know how you want the shape designed, they can also take on those services. At the central fabrication facility, they're going to carve your mold. In some cases, they can send that mold back to you to do your own fabrication, or they can do the fabrication themselves. On the right side, you see a series of central fabrication partners we work with throughout the US and Canada, and as well as Europe. And we're lucky, as I mentioned, to have a couple of those here today to speak to their experience. So when you're looking at getting into CAD/CAM and looking at leveraging a central fabrication partner, what are the tools that you're going to use? So Vorum has designed and built our own scanning technology. So here's the first one I'll show you. It's really the gold standard in the industry for portable scanning. The Spectra scanner, you can scan anything from head to foot. It's portable, so it works with a laptop. You can use it in your own clinic or take it to a hospital if necessary. It's extremely accurate, and that's why it's been a very valuable tool in doing things like cranial remolding, where accuracy is so critical. If you compare the Spectra to other sort of high-end or high-accuracy scanners available in the market, you'll actually find that the Spectra is quite competitively priced. So that's something else to keep in mind if you're in the market for a scanning technology. And here's a bit of news. So Vorum is launching a brand new scanner. It's called the Luma scanner, and it's Vorum's first wireless scanning solution. So it works like some other tablet style scanners in the market. It works with a Microsoft Surface Pro computer, so you have all of the functionality that you want with a Windows computer. That can be really important in some organizations that don't want to work with iPads for security reasons. It also is has a super simple interface, really easy to learn, easy to use, and what I think is also pretty interesting. Again, is just that Vorum has designed this from the ground up. We use some third-party scanning technology, but what we actually do is brought it in-house, and we've actually improved the accuracy and the calibration of it to be better suited to the orthopedic clinic environment. So more news on that to come, and yeah, stay tuned. Once you have your patient scan, there's a couple of options for design. So really the capabilities under CanFit design, we've been working on this software and improving it and totally revising it throughout the years. But now we have a very fast, consistent, and powerful solution. So people can learn it from any kind of skill level or technology comfort level. They can really find success with the solution. One thing, just beyond the modifications themselves, one thing that's really leveraged our customers to find some big gains in their productivity is around the use of our macros, which is like a way to design a recipe of modifications for typical braces that you do quite often. And why that's important is you can share it with different practitioners in your practice, and they can also all be following that same recipe. So that's really accelerated the use of the system for our customers. With the CanFit design, there's actually two packages or two options you can look at for that. So the CanFit design itself is an unlimited license, so you can make as many carve files as you want. And for those who might be, price conscious or want to see how it goes and kind of grow with their use of the system, we do have the CanFit Access model, which is a lower upfront investment, but it's a pay-as-you-go. So this often works really well when working with a CFAB because you're just kind of rolling in the cost of the modification carve unit with the other central fabrication services you're using. So that's a bit about what Central Fab is and the tools that Vorum has to leverage that. So why do we think it's interesting to look at central fabrication now? So one thing central fabrication can offer you is flexibility. So we know with all of the various shutdowns and openings and uncertainty of just the number of patients you're going to have walking in the door, central fabrication offers you a way to manage those swings quite easily. So the central fabricator, they're probably getting work from lots of different places around the United States or around Canada. And as different places close and open, the central fabricator can actually kind of mitigate those fluctuations quite easily. Whereas a single clinic in some of those areas, once they're shut down, that's it. So having a way to offload some of that technical work when things get busy, it's a really important thing to know is there when you need it. With the scanning, you have less physical contact with the patient. There will still be some, but you're going to minimize that as much as possible. So when you're scanning, you're at a couple feet away from a patient, probably not 6 feet or 2 meters, but you're less close to the patient, and the time you are near the patient is reduced as well. You also have less physical contact with the staff within your office. So there's less back and forth between practitioner and technician. All of the design work can be done offline, can be done at home, and you can send that to the central fabricator when it's convenient. Digital record keeping. This is another thing where you might find that your patient visits are getting more spread out. So where maybe you used to see a patient every 6 months, now it might be a year or more, just with the uncertainty around closures and that kind of thing. So it's important to have that record to go back to, and having that digital record is really important. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague Alex. Alex is technical director at Myrdal, and he's going to walk through the capabilities they have at his company.
Hey, Chris, thanks for the introduction and thanks for having me. I guess I'll start by giving you guys a little history on MOT. We are a technician-owned and operated company and have been providing materials and fabrication services for over 20 years. As both a material supplier and fabricator, we have experience working with kind of all kinds of materials, and we test or use everything we sell. This is an advantage when it comes to providing technical support to material users, and also gives us a slew of options for those choosing our CFAB services. Our location in central Canada allows some really cost-effective shipping options and the capability to ship overnight to most destinations in Canada. We offer everything from just mold carvings to kind of any CFAB you need, and the majority of mold carvings can be shipped same day, and in most cases you'll have a mold back positive model the next day. If you are a traditional user of our CFAB services, by moving to CAD/CAM, you're going to save the kind of outbound shipping on your end, and so as soon as we get a file in the email, we can start working on it. Whether you're a small business owner in rural Canada or a large clinic in a big city, it's really our goal to help you stay up to date with technology, the trends, and new materials. I'm particularly proud of the support we provide. Mott's really an open book, no secrets here. We're happy to share our experiences and help you work through your challenges. Our phone lines are always open. So Vorum. Our experience with Vorum has been incredibly positive. We've been working together since 2016, and the partnership has helped us grow our fabrication business, beyond our expectation. seeing our volumes grow and, you know, regularly adding new users has been really encouraging. Really cements the fact that this technology is working and increasing productivity. The other day I was thinking about how we used to do spinal molds, and I mean, I just can't imagine doing that anymore without foam. It's kind of like the days before cell phones. Once you've, you know, once you've got it and you're using it, it's just hard to imagine, you know, life before. Vorum's hardware and software have really been just rock solid for us. As with anything, there's, you know, the odd hiccup, but everything has been addressed promptly and we've never been left waiting for a solution. The support and training was exceptional. I feel like, you know, as soon as we had that initial training, we had a really solid understanding of the software and hardware and carver, and, you know, we were just off to the races. If ever you do need support, they have really great support hours and you can always get through to someone. And, you know, they're really, really helpful if ever you run into any small problems. As a fabrication partner, we have requests that are kind of beyond that of the average user from time to time. And even those are dealt with like instantly, quickly, and efficiently. Vorum's really happy to customize things for you. And I've even seen some of our suggestions rolled out in the new software. That speaks volumes. That feels pretty special to make a suggestion and see it in the next release. I would estimate here we have 99% uptime on the equipment. Really seems to be unmatched compared to some of the competing products. I would say Vorum really is the gold standard, and the carver is just a workhorse. Our carver is running, you know, 9 to 5 every day. One of the other things, kind of a specialty of ours, is the fabrication over foam. So of all things, that was likely the most difficult part of our conversion to CAD/CAM. We were lucky to have lots of resources, but it still took a decent amount of time to develop and refine some of the processes. As I mentioned earlier, we're an open book and we're happy to share our successes and failures. I've kind of got a PowerPoint presentation. It's a living document, kind of constantly updating and evolving. And I'm happy to share that with anyone interested, be it a customer or not. So if it is something you're considering, you can, you know, reach out to us or Chris. Chris has the presentation as well. We also really appreciate feedback from other users. If you're, you know, have some experience with foam or it's something you're doing every day, I love to hear your suggestions and give them a try. Some of them have been incorporated into our kind of daily operations. CAD/CAM has opened the door to a lot of great conversations for us, and I think our industry is truly stronger together. It's really brought a lot of new ideas and shared experience to our practice. I know a lot of us recently have to step back a little bit and take a look at the business. It's been a tough time for everyone, but I think it's a great opportunity to look at CAD/CAM and embrace the technology. Aside from all the benefits we're talking about today, it really, you know, indirectly it establishes a support network for you. So for fabrication, technical support, kind of anything, you know, once you have that line of communication open with the CFAB, should you need it, I mean, we're here to help. It's our goal to support people any way we can, and I'm really happy that we could have these extra tools to help some through these tough times. So in closing, if you're on the fence with CAD/CAM or CFAB, feel free to ask any questions here at the end of the presentation or give us a call to chat anytime. Thanks to everyone who tuned in, and take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. We have Alex's contact info here. We'll have it again at the end of the presentation, so don't worry if you miss it at this point. Okay, great. And next we have Renee from Friddle's. Welcome, Renee.
Hey, thanks. Hello, everyone. I'll start with a little bit about Friddle's history and our strengths. The Friddle family started in O&P in the late 1920s, so going on about 100 years. 4 generations of Friddles have worked in the industry, both in practice and in fabrication and distribution, and we're still family owned and operated by Becca and Rachel. So Friddle's has been known throughout the years for transfer paper and for some other things, but one of my jobs is to make sure that everybody knows that we're much more than that. We have distribution, manufacturing, and of course, central fabrication. So Friddle's experience working with Vorum and Vorum products, Friddle's has always been a consumer of the latest technologies, and we've been using Vorum since about 1997 when we purchased our first carver. We've added various Vorum solutions over the years, and today Vorum systems are the backbone of our fabrication process. So pretty much anything that comes through our shop, we use the Vorum processes and solutions for. So why should people consider a CFAB now? I guess that's what we're here to talk about, right? Chris and Alex have mentioned the ways a CFAB can help during these new times where we're dealing with the fluctuations caused by COVID-19. A CFAB offers you flexibility and capacity, less physical contact, and a way to keep more enhanced digital records, as Chris mentioned. But let's be clear, we aren't saying CFAB is immune to the effects of COVID. Friddle's has been challenged by these times, as everyone has, with the fluctuations in capacities and some shipping concerns, but with the size of our staff and the ability to put in some new procedures, we managed to stay operating and keep our team healthy and working so that we can help our customers get through these times as well. So what many clinics are learning right now is that having a relationship with a CFAB gives you this flexibility, not just through the pandemic, but anytime you have a fluctuation in your business model. So some customers use us only when they have a technician on vacation or whenever they find they have a change in manpower for whatever reason. So a relationship with a CFAB such as Friddle's can give you the ability to weather those fluctuations and call someone in to help. So a relationship with a CFAB also gives you access to the latest technologies with little to no financial investment on your part sometimes. We can also help educate your practitioners on these latest technologies. I guess this can be especially helpful right now while the state and regional meetings aren't happening. So those are meetings where a lot of people get introduced to these technologies, get some education. As a CFAB, we have to stay on top of these latest technologies to survive and compete. And as a result, we can help bring this education to you. A relationship with a CFAB also adds a wealth of experience to your practice. There are some unusual or unique devices you may see once a year in your practice, but since we serve multiple practices, we'll likely see them more. And so we'll be able to bring that experience and knowledge to your clinic. One thing I love about Friddle's is that we're eager to be involved in these technologies and really the advancements in our field and be able to bring those to the clinics. But probably my favorite thing is that we strive to make the relationship with the customer feel like our technicians are your technicians, and that everyone that works for us also works for you. So we really take a lot of pride in being able to bring this education and technology to you. So I've seen a couple of things as I've been working with Friddle's in the last 2.5 years. A couple of things that really make working with a CFAB more successful and go a long way in your relationship. The first is to start the relationship before you absolutely need it. So when you have a technician out sick or quit, it's really not the optimal time to seek out a CFAB partner for the first time. So even if you only use the CFAB partner for a couple of things a year, just getting the account set up, learning who to call and who to talk to, kind of learning how each other works. If you can do that before you absolutely need a CFAB, then it will definitely make you more successful when you need them. And then also know that a CFAB is not an all or nothing approach. So we have many customers who only use us for one thing and they do the rest themselves. Maybe this is AK by measurement because we have the full CAD capabilities to do that. Or maybe they only use us for carvings and then they fabricate the prosthesis themselves. It doesn't matter. We're happy to help with whatever part of the process you want us to get involved in. So one of the things that we do offer, people may not know are the blocks for the foam carvings. So we do manufacture quite a few of those at Friddle's in different densities, different shapes. They can be custom cut, so they can be formed into one block and cut into another shape for you. Or if you have a unique situation and you need something custom formed, we can work with you to get those molds built so that we can actually custom make whatever shape you need. So being the manufacturer of those and then also using them in our CFAB kind of gives us a really comprehensive understanding of the foam and what it needs to do and what changes need to be made and how changes affect the actual use of it. So this gives us the ability to control the quality really well. I think Alex mentioned that they use everything they supply as well. And doing that really gives us the ability to decide what needs to be changed, or again, to react to changes that maybe we didn't anticipate the results of. And then Chris did mention the Luma. Super excited about this. I can't go into a whole lot of detail yet because I did just get mine a few days ago, but I'm really excited about it. And one of the things that I have learned very quickly is that it's quite intuitive, and they've really gone a long way to help the user. If you don't, one example, if you can't remember what each button is for, you just hit the little question mark there and it pops up what everything's for. So they really worked hard to make this something that's intuitive and something that we can get in the hands of more clinicians to get more people scanning. So I realize all that was pretty quick, but hopefully if you guys have any questions, we'll be here.
Great, thanks, Renee. Yeah, that sort of wraps up the. Yeah, we motored through that pretty quick, but I think there's a lot of good stuff. So again, really appreciate all the stuff that Alex and Renee, what you brought to the table here, just to get the word out about how things are working today. I don't know that we have any questions, but I propose to anybody that's joined in, if you don't have a specific question, we'd also like to hear from you on your thoughts. How have you seen your work change? How can Central Fabrication help you? What have you seen that has worked and what hasn't worked, maybe? And how has your relationship with your CFAB changed throughout this whole process? So we have a lot of people, and I think a lot of attendees, and the risk is that people are just kind of checking in and want to see what's going on, and maybe it's your lunch break, and that's fine too. If you don't have any specific questions, we can wait on that. Oh, I did have a question from John Ziebel. Do you see many O&P technicians operating CanFit software? Renee, do you want to take that one?
Yes. I mean, our technicians do in the CFAB, of course, but I have been in clinics where the technicians are the ones who use the CAD system, especially with the ability to have the libraries and things. You can have each practitioner has their own, and the technician just follows what the practitioner wants.
Yeah, in Canada, we're a little bit limited on how much the technician can do. So they're not supposed to do any modification. It's really the practitioner that has to do it. But I know in the States, it's a little bit different there. So certainly the capability is there, and that's one of the values of those macros, is that you can have a certified prosthetist or orthotist design some of those rules about how modifications get applied, and a technician can easily follow it and be trained on some of the adjustments. The other thing that's really nice to know is for a lot of the things, a lot of the modifications that are done on the shape, they're all linked to specific landmarks. So the practitioner is the one there, visiting the patient, taking the landmarks, and the modifications are really just associated with those. So there's not a lot of guesswork for a technician to know where the thing needs to go. We also work with a lot of texture images on shapes with the Spectra and now the Luma scanner. So anything you draw, it can just be draw like the trim line with a pen on where you want that trim line to be. That information gets transferred through into CanFit, so a technician can just draw the physical trim line on where that pen mark was on the shape. Great question. And then a couple people have asked another good question. What's the general time frame we're looking at for the release of Luma? Thought we'd get that one.
I know, you knew you'd get asked. Soon, very soon.
Yeah.
I can't answer is it in full production yet? I mean, I don't know how many you guys have of them, but I would say just as soon as I can get my full training on it. So I don't know, hazard a guess, a month?
Yeah, and that's something to be aware of just with the whole Luma scanner, is it will be available only through Friddles for now in the US. And it is really set up for that central fabrication business arrangement. But just again, to make the whole scanning process easy and approachable by everybody. But yeah, as soon as Renee says she is fully up to speed on it and has enough time for her to use it, then I know that she'll be rolling that out. So that'll be great. Very cool. Any last questions? Those are great questions, by the way. Thank you for raising those. No, I don't see.
I have a question.
Oh,
I don't
Renee,
know if anybody.
please.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if anyone on here has changed their relationship with a CFAB during this time with COVID. Has anyone started using one more or less? Has your experience changed? I don't know. Anyone want to field that question?
Yeah, if anybody just puts a note into the chat, just say, yeah, I can answer that. Then we can unmute you and you can speak freely on here. So I'm looking at a few of the folks that already asked us some questions. I would love to get your feedback on some of this as well. If anybody would be able to speak to that, if you're not sure, again, in the Zoom meeting chat bar, if you don't see it in the main toolbar for the Zoom meeting, if you click more, you should find it under there. But I think most of you should see it just directly on there. Maybe Alex.
Yeah, sure.
I think you spoke to this a little bit, but aside from just general workload fluctuations, what would you say has been your experience with changes in your customer relationships?
Interestingly enough, we've seen kind of an increase in the carve by measure. So building shapes from measurements, which also kind of falls a little bit in the, technicians using CanFit. So I think that's one of the areas where it's not a limitation for me to be building a shape from measurements, either carving that or doing fabrication from that. A bit more with technicians using CanFit. Sometimes we do custom molds that need a bit, extra height so that we can key in something. So I feel like that's a situation where it would be totally acceptable for a technician to, extend some dead space on top of a cast, or situations like that. But in general, our CFAB has been pretty steady through the past couple months, but with an increase in those carve by measure projects. So quite a few spinal by measure.
Great. And Renee, what have you seen on that? Even though you asked the question, what have you seen a difference in the type of work you're being asked to do?
I'm not in the main office where all the work passes through, so I probably wouldn't be the best one to answer that.
Yeah.
But I do know I have gotten some inquiries from people who aren't our customers currently.
Yeah.
So a little bit more, maybe their technicians are out or furloughed, and so a little bit of that. But I don't know about the by numbers part of it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep, I don't see any other questions in the chat. So I think we'll call it a day here. I really appreciate everybody's engagement. Thanks to Ryan, Michael, and John for your questions. And thanks to Renee and Alex for your time here today. Have a great day, everybody, and please stay in touch. Here, lastly, is just our contact info. So please reach out to us, any of us, for any question you have, and we'll make sure it goes to the right location.
Great.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.